the Cannon Town Hall. My name is Caroline. I'm the Director of Member Engagement at the Cannon. I'd like to introduce you to Garrett, and then you can... Hey guys, I'm Caroline here at the Cannon Town Hall. I'm the Director of Member Engagement at the Cannon, and we have one of our members, Garrett, here with Control Shift Video. Garrett, how long have you been working here at the Cannon?
I started in January, so 7 months now.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And y'all just moved into a new office?
Yes, we just moved in like a month ago. We were just a couple doors down just a couple weeks ago. So
awesome. So out of all the amenities and cool rooms and everything, what's your favorite part about working here at the Cannon?
I'm going to go with a cliche thing. I'm just going to say the lunchroom, simply because, well, we got the ping pong table in there. It's nice and open, vending machines, and of course I can heat up my lunch there. So I had to go to the cliche thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll be back soon with Jeffrey. No.
yeah, so if you want to come up a little bit, and then now you can talk to them, and we should be able to get both of them. Let me make sure we're in focus.
Oh, look, George getting dressed in the hall. Wow.
All right. Are you guys ready? Sure.
Yeah.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's Caroline back at Cannon Town Hall. I am with Jeffrey and Ruth from IBO and Ground Tour Underwriter. Jeffrey, how long have you been at the Cannon?
Since the beginning, one of the founders, 3 years already.
And Ruth? You did. Okay, so I want to know, what is your favorite memory about being a Cannon member?
Well, I think one of the fun things is when you and I came and toured and we ran around with our hard hats and we checked out the theater as they were building the seats and trying it out and checking out everything and seeing what was done and what wasn't done and seeing people. It was great.
It was fun. I still have my hard hat.
Me too.
Jeffrey, what about you?
Well, there were all kinds of great networking events. I got to meet people like Ruth, and then I could drive her crazy, so it was a lot of fun.
We all have been awesome members. We've loved having you. And Jeffrey's actually going to be moving to Waco, but he's staying on as a Cannon member through Cannon Connect virtually, and we're right here by Ruth's office. So come say hello, and we will be back soon.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm here with my good friend George Ortiz with Varsity Hype. George, how long have you been a member of the Cannon?
I guess since the beginning. I basically laid the groundwork for this entire thing. You're welcome, Lawson. But we've been part of the organization since even before the waiting room was built out, and we've been happy to be part of it along the way.
So out of all of that time, what is your favorite memory so far for being here at the Cannon?
I would have to say there's a couple pictures floating around of Lawson and Ben Griffin and Aldo Ortiz wearing hard hats, pushing furniture around. I mean, when we signed up for this, nobody actually thought that they were going to have to do any full-time labor, but things from putting up insulation to taking water out of the building when it got flooded. So a couple of those memories stick out more than anything else. But like I said, we've loved being here and can't wait to continue to grow with y'all.
Thanks. You are an integral part of why we're here. Thank you for laying the groundwork,
Love
George.
it. Yeah, you're welcome, Lawson.
And then I'm going to bring in our last member that we're going to... Last member here to interview. This is Lewis with 2x4 Construction.
Hi.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for about a month, and man, I got nothing but great things to say about it.
Good. Out of your short time here, do you have any favorite memories of note?
Well, I'll tell you this, that ever since I've been here, the community's been so welcoming. I've met a lot of great people since I've been here. And I mean, again, nothing but great things to say about it.
Good. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member. Cannon Town Hall will be starting shortly.
All right. Welcome. If you haven't taken a seat and you want to, go ahead. There's plenty of good seating up front. We've got an hour of joy and excitement for you. So we want you to be comfortable. Mr. Bruce, good to see you. We'll just let folks stream in as we go. First of all, welcome. Thank you so much. This is the first of what we hope to be many Cannon Town Halls. I purposely didn't say first annual because if you've had any connection with the Cannon and our attempt to have large events, we're not superstitious, but we've had a really bad track record of scheduling events and having major things happen. So with our grand opening of this building just, I guess, over 2 years ago, we got flooded. I won't even talk about the plans for 2020. So we're going to sneak up on these from now on. Hopefully that will allow us to pull them off. A little bit of a deja vu for me. I'm John Lambert. I'm the CEO of the Cannon. I know most of you, so I just kind of launched into this. But I have been with the Cannon since the end of October of 2019. And excited to be here, and excited to spend this evening with you. A little bit of a deja vu moment. My first exposure to the Cannon was at an event similar to this one. Let me see if I can come back to that. So I'm assuming a number of you were part of this event. I was actually at this event as well, but not a part of the Cannon yet. I had made the decision to come join Lawson and the team to kind of run and live this adventure of the Cannon, but I was standing up in the corner just outside of the frame, and it was that evening. I made the decision to come, but it was that evening, the energy, the excitement, the opportunity to talk to a number of you that kind of validated my decision to come do this, and I don't regret it for a second. So we're excited to be here and do this. I'm going to flip back. We're going to manage kind of the Q&A process for today through a process of using the QR code. We have a tremendous partner, is actually the sponsor for this evening's event, called Alive 5, and they've done this process for us. If you click on that and get that app up on your phone, if you have a question at any point in time, regardless of what it's about, and can submit that question, we will attempt to address those in the different Q&A sessions that we put forward there. So this would have had to have been a 4-hour event for us to spend adequate time to thank all of you for your contribution to the last 4 years of the Cannon. It's been amazing. Like I said, I've only been here for half of it, but just the thought process from the very beginning to today and where we are and where we're going. Hopefully we'll be able to share a lot of that with you guys today. It's been wonderful. So for our community members that are part of the crowd, for our partners and sponsors, for what we call our extended support network, which is just everybody that we can possibly kind of pull into the community, for our investors, a number of you here tonight, for our board members, friends, family, everybody. We actually have the in-person crowd, and this is the first one of these that we've done with a live stream as well. So we've got an audience at home or abroad that is participating, and so we're happy to have them involved in the process as well. There's one more group that I want to introduce to you, and so we're going to provide you with a special way to do that. So, special thanks to our own Aldo Ortiz for that artwork. That was fantastic. Labor of love on his part. Very creative. We're glad to have him. So I'd like to invite the Cannon crowd up here, if I can. And I'm going to have each one of them introduce themselves to you, and you get to know them a little bit better.
All right, I guess I'm starting. I'm Brad Cheer. I'm our Managing Director of Operations, and I've been with the Cannon for 3.5 years or so, right when we opened the other building. So it's great to see the crowd, and thank y'all for coming out.
Hi, my name is Aldo Ortiz. I'm the Member Engagement Lead, and I've officially been with the Cannon for a year, but I've been around since the very birth of it.
Hi, I'm Caroline Neely. I am the Director of Member Engagement here. I went to the University of Texas, and I've been here about 3.5 years.
Hi, I'm Ben Griffin. I am the Director of Channel Development here, and I've been here for 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Melissa Gonzalez. I'm the Member Programs Manager, and I've been here since December.
I'm Alex Gross. I've had the unfortunate pleasure of hearing about what the Cannon could become since about second grade, but I just started formally here in February as Managing Director.
Hi, my name is Amanda Moya. I am the Member Experience Manager here at the Cannon, and I've been here for 3 months.
Hi, my name is Theo DeMarjos. I'm Director of Member Engagement, and I've also been here 3 months, so we're the newbies.
So there's a few other folks that, for various reasons, couldn't be with us or are with us but are not in this room. So Maddie Taylor. Maddie, wave for everybody. Maddie started yesterday. We're working hard. She's a Member Engagement Manager, going to be working on our downtown spaces. Haley Beggins, unfortunately, is sick. Haley is actually leaving to help Dallas solve all their problems. And so Maddie will be taking her place. So Haley couldn't be here this evening. And then the final person that we're missing is Hillary Ago. Hillary's excuse was dodgy. She had her first baby at just past midnight today. So it's our first official town hall baby. We're excited about that. And she threatened to be on the live stream from the hospital. So Hillary, if you're there, thanks for joining us. Get some rest. So we're excited about that. One more person to introduce. This guy doesn't need an introduction around here, but I just did want to share kind of my background. I met Lawson in 2013. He was a bright-eyed Rice grad coming to KPMG to help us kind of reinvent corporate venture capital. And the word at KPMG, before I had the opportunity to meet Lawson, was we've hired an unnaturally good-looking guy to help with corporate venture capital. And I said, okay. Then I saw Lawson, and they were right. So my real first opportunity to spend some time with Lawson, interestingly, was on a guy's trip to Vegas. How many people have seen the movie Hangover? Okay. This was exactly the opposite. So this was the least salacious guy's trip to Las Vegas in the history of the universe. We played bad golf. We told a lot of bad jokes. But it was during that trip, really, that I got to know kind of the passion and the creativity of Lawson. And so when the opportunity came up to come be part of this adventure, that was a big part of it. So I wanted Lawson to have a chance to kind of talk about and reflect on 4 years of the Cannon. Lawson's got some other influences in his life this last week as well. He'll tell you about that and as part of his reflections. I'm sure that plays into it. So, Lawson, I'll throw it over to you.
Thanks, John, and thanks to the team. I've been completely checked out and had nothing to do with this event because my wife just gave birth to our first child. Yeah. Very excited, and I'm tired, but that's been amazing. And the joke about me being good-looking doesn't really land as like it may have in 2013, I think. But But the Canon was my first baby, and but I do love this human child that we had, and I thought I'd take the next 45 minutes to show you guys pictures of her on my phone, if that's okay. No, I'll be brief, but this is a fun moment for me because it's our 4-year anniversary, and where we've come, the whole journey has been amazing and really fulfilling, and it has even seeing that picture of our ribbon cutting and the grand opening, that seems like forever ago. It was pre-COVID, and I know most of you guys in the room, and it's great to see your faces again because I haven't seen most of them since the pre-COVID era when the world took this great pause. But we started the Canon at the very beginning because we love Houston, and Houston was a startup desert. It was a desert, that a creative desert, an innovation desert, and we like to think that, well, the desert's where miracles happen. And the Canon, to us, or to me at least, has felt like our own little miracle. It's been such an amazing run for us, and we've had our fair share of plagues, by the way. We've had floods and disease. It seems like it's never been easy, but at least what's kept us going is our deep belief that this can have a really amazing impact on the city and on our community. And we probably would be more worn out than we are at this point if we hadn't along the way gotten such amazing encouragement and cheerleading from the community and from the faces I'm looking at in this room. You guys gave us that energy that we needed to get here, and it has been hard. John's actually only 23 years old, but the Canon has taken its toll. And our team has some fresh faces, and we like to think that a lot of the challenges are behind us, and we're really excited about what's coming next. We've got a bunch of new locations opening up, a bunch of new members, new people, new activities, new events, and it's great to be doing those things in person finally again. I just wanted to say thank you guys for the encouragement along the way that gave us that energy to keep pushing to bring this to life and more locations that can really make an impact on Houston. Thanks, guys.
I'll pile onto that a little bit. What's been really cool for me in the couple years that I've been here is as I got kind of acclimated to what the Canon was all about and kind of learning the community and where our value proposition was, the cool part about it for me has been that everything that we've done has gone back to the vision that Lawson had for this place in the first place, which is you don't get a chance to do that. A lot of times we talk about pivots and changes and that kind of thing. Our mission has never changed, and that's all that does is kind of reiterate our drive to actually succeed and add value to what we're trying to do. So, Lawson's kind of that vision is still the heart of everything that we're doing, and we're excited about that. So moving on to the next phase of our program. We are blessed to have a large number of sponsors and partners as the Canon. We couldn't do it without them. The team you saw does the job, I tell everybody, of about 50, but it's our partners and sponsors and our extended network of people that actually help us deliver beyond our means. And so today we've got the opportunity to hear from the CEO of our partner Act 2, Marcus Wagner. So we'll have Marcus come up, and he's going to do a brief presentation about Act 2 and kind of what they're doing and how they're thinking about finance and accounting. And our own Alex Gross is going to join him, and so we'll get them set up here. I promised Marcus fireworks and spotlights, so could you give us a round of applause maybe so I don't get...
Thanks, John. Is that comfortable?
It's good to be with you guys. I love public speaking. We practiced this a little bit earlier, and we had a huge monitor with my presentation, and now we've got a 13-inch screen that I can't see. So if I have to turn around and look at the presentation to remember what I'm saying, I apologize.
Well, before we start, because this is all about you guys and the hundreds of thousands or millions, millions, I'm just hearing in millions of people tuning in. This is for y'all, and so we again want to thank you guys. We want to thank this community, and Marcus is part and parcel to that community. Has been a tremendous force in terms of supporting our entrepreneurs, and so we definitely wanted to give you a shot to kind of you do a better job of introducing yourself than I will, and kind of talk about how that journey's been and where you fit into this whole ecosystem.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. And I'll just start by saying that what you guys just talked about the history of the Cannon really resonates with me. I'm a founder of my own business. I started the company about 10 years ago here in Houston, so it's not a total startup desert, but we're about 110, 120 employees now. I actually did one of the original Hard Hat tours before you guys moved into the building, and then we became a partner with you guys, and it's great to see the Cannon thriving again, kind of emerging from the ashes, I guess, as a phoenix after COVID. So a little bit about me. I'm the founder and CEO of Act Two. I've been doing that for about 10 years and kind of came up through public accounting. I'm a CPA, so this is going to be a very exciting presentation. Just to get ready. Came up through public accounting, PwC. I co-founded a middle market accounting firm and led the advisory practice there, and been with Act Two for about 10 years. So what is Act Two? We help high growth companies achieve their finance and accounting outcomes that they need. A lot of times we're helping them with growing pains. We're helping them solve more complexity. We work with typically middle market companies, more so than startups, although we definitely work with some pre-revenue companies as well, kind of 20 to 2,000 employees in a variety of industries. SaaS is a big area for us, SaaS companies. A lot of nonprofits as well as home services companies, and really just the services side of the economy. So that's a little bit about Act Two. This works. It's good. So my topic for today is how do we understand finance and accounting as an entrepreneur, as a founder, and the role that it should be playing in our businesses, regardless of the stage of growth that we're in, regardless of the size company that we're in. I'm going to do that by introducing a concept called the core context model, which I find to be an incredibly useful framework for thinking about things, looking through the core context lens at finance and accounting. And then hopefully what you take away from this is the cost and the risks of underinvesting in finance and accounting, kind of doing the bare minimum, or should I say maybe doing the bare minimum for too long, because that's typically where we get pulled in, is helping companies that have really outgrown their platform. And also introduce this idea of turning finance and accounting into a strategic business asset, because there are some upside opportunities to do that. So here's the core context model, and this is a model, if you take nothing else away from this presentation, hopefully this will be a useful model that you guys can take back to your teams as a way of thinking about how you invest in various parts of the business. And it was, I can't take any credit for it, it was coined by a guy named Geoffrey Moore. Geoffrey Moore was the author of a book called Crossing the Chasm, which was all about the technology adoption life cycle, and I actually heard him speak about this. So here it is. Context functions are things in your business that you have to do, and you have to do them to a certain standard, but there's no prize for doing them well, but there's a penalty for doing them badly, right? So welcome to the world of IT, or accounting, quite frankly, finance and accounting. And this is kind of the pass-fail analogy that I would use, right? So if you took a class in college, pass-fail, you either did it because you needed the hours, or maybe you had an interest in the topic, but you didn't want to do the work that it would take to get an A+. When I took the CPA exam, I needed to pass the CPA exam. I didn't need to get 100. So 70 was my target. Core functions are the things that are really at the heart of your business. What your identity is, what you say your business does, what makes you unique, what differentiates you from your reference competitors, what creates enterprise value. And then there's an intersection in this core context model of the idea of mission critical functions, things that you have to do and you cannot fail to do, and enabling functions. And so both there are mission critical functions that need to get done both in core and in context. So that's the core context model. The fallacy of that is that whether you're familiar with that model or not, and I saw a couple people nodding, so hopefully you read the book, is that we all take certain departments in our businesses or certain functions and we put them in either core or context or strategic activities versus admin or back office, and that's not really true. So if you look at the left side of the screen, things like strategy, research and development, mergers and acquisitions, operations and delivery, anything to do that's customer facing, maybe customer relationship management, we tend to think of those things as strategic, right? On the right-hand side of this chart are shared service functions, we sometimes call those, or admin functions, and we have a tendency to bucketize those as context or non-strategic. The danger in doing that is number one, you may fall short in those norms, and that's where we see people when they come to us and they need help with finance and accounting, is they've outgrown their platform, they can't get their audit report that they need, maybe they're going through their Series A and they have a surprise come up and their deal falls apart. I've seen that happen all the time. The other risk in doing this is that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, if you take a function like finance or you take a function like IT and say, that's non-strategic and you're going to fund it that way and you're going to treat it that way, that's the outcome you're going to get. And here's what you get when you treat finance and accounting as a context function only. You get bookkeeping and you get taxes. And when I go to cocktail parties, the first thing I tell people is I'm an accountant because it's a great conversation starter. And just kidding. But when they do find out what I do, they say, "Oh, you must be really busy this time of year because it's tax season." And I don't even know anything about taxes. I don't do taxes. But this is how people think about finance and accounting, bookkeeping and taxes. Neither one of those things adds any value to your business. I'll just tell you that right now. Bookkeeping, at best, you're getting core financial statements, maybe a couple weeks, if you're lucky, after last month's close, and it doesn't tell you anything useful. You can't react. There's no granularity, and then, of course, taxes are just telling the government how much money you owe them. So let's go back to the core context model and look at these A, B, C, and D quadrants. And again, mission critical core is like ground zero for your company. That's where you're creating enterprise value. So how can finance and accounting help us with mission critical core? Well, number one, it can help reinforce our core vector of differentiation, and it can help give us feedback on the key factors related to our core business. Context related, mission critical in the finance and accounting world is keeping the lights on, making sure we can pay our employees, pay our vendors, keep us out of jail. We don't look good in orange jumpsuits. That's one of the jobs that finance and accounting does. Down in the lower left, the enabling functions of core is finance and accounting should be helping us see what we're missing in the business. What are the opportunities that exist to create additional enterprise value? And then D kind of looks like a leftover, but it's really not. This is where we can optimize processes, make it easier to do business with our company, and free up more resources in doing so to spend on A, B, C, and D. Now, as we drill down a little bit more, let's go back to mission critical core, which is where everybody thinks of finance and accounting. The general ledger, there's nothing more mission critical core than the general ledger, right? It has to be right. It's the single source of the truth. You cannot fail at doing that. Now, if you look at some of the other stuff on this list, there's more than just bookkeeping and taxes, right? There are mission critical functions, especially as you go from pre-revenue to post-revenue, that you need to be thinking about how the solution. How am I going to bill my customers? How am I going to collect cash? How am I going to do my cash management? And what I see in companies that underfund finance and accounting as they move into that post-revenue stage, maybe they're post-seed round or post-Series A, is if they don't fund that in finance and accounting, other departments end up taking care of that. I've seen companies build billing engines in Salesforce. Why? Because when the sales team asks for money, they get the money because it's growth related, right? And so I've gone in and helped companies replace complex billing environments that their Salesforce consultants built for them. And then because they said, well, we're billing in Salesforce, we have to do revenue recognition. So they built revenue recognition functionality in Salesforce. How crazy is that? Well, it's because sales always gets the funding and finance and accounting doesn't. So, by the way, I'm in sales too. So, down on the lower right, the enabling functions that finance and accounting does around context, this business process optimization and process automation, re-engineering and outsourcing, the skill sets from that usually a lot of that come out of finance and accounting. In mission critical core, what is it that finance and accounting can do that's really core to the business? You may have heard the term financial planning and analysis, or FP&A. That's the budgeting process, the forecasting process, the what-if scenario planning. What if we rolled out a new product? What if we changed our pricing? What if we moved from a transaction-based model to a subscription-based model? What would the impact be on our enterprise value? And then, of course, things like real-time KPIs, analytics, and dashboards. And then, of course, fundraising. What's more mission-critical core than having the money, having the funding to go and do the research and develop the products and services that you provide. And then lastly, enabling functions. So there's a lot of innovation going on in finance and accounting right now around data visualization, data discovery tools. You're wanting to find insights in your data, but you don't even know what you're looking for. And there's some great technology out there. A lot of that's coming out of the finance function. The last thing I'll leave you with, and then we can talk about some questions, is it used to be acceptable for finance and accounting to live in that upper right quadrant. And I think in the 20th century, that's the comfort level of the traditional CFO is I do mission critical context. I keep us out of jail. I get the books done. I do the tax return. There are three forces that are working to really push finance and accounting out of that box. Quite frankly, push CFOs and accountants out of their comfort level into the other three areas. And they're all somewhat related. The first one is this move from on-premises software to the cloud. The second one is moving from what we call systems of record to systems of engagement. And the third one is, having history systems where we recorded things in the past to now having nervous systems. And what do I mean by that? In the 20th century, the systems of record were a way to record digitally what happened in the physical world in business. That's the way business worked in the 20th century. Today, more and more, the business is happening in the digital world itself. And so we can capture real-time data, and we can create this nervous system. But what nervous systems need to do is they need to give us real-time feedback so that we can get the information and we can react and pivot and make the decisions that we need to do in the business. So, again, if you take nothing more from this, the core context model is a great way of deciding where to invest money, where to invest time. And the thing you really need to keep in mind is spend your money in the context side of this chart up until the point where you meet the standard that you need to meet. But you don't get a prize for going above that. So if you start taking more risk off the table or you start spending more money in context than you need to, now you're starving core and you're making a mistake. So I'll stop there and see if you guys have any thoughts on that. Any questions?
Well, I did notice one thing for an accounting presentation. It's the first one I've ever seen a picture. It was in black and white, but it was a picture. So I commend you on that. I think, the first, while everyone else is thinking about questions, I had one. Oh, we got Theo here.
Yeah, we have one question.
Oh, okay.
You want to go with that?
Yeah.
Okay, from Charlie. In your opinion, what is the most undervalued KPI for the majority of companies you work with at Act Two?
It's a good question. I think that depends on two things. Number one, the industry, and number two, the stage of growth, right? If you're early stage, pre-seed, friends and family funded, self-funded, cash and working capital are very important to track. I remember the days when, in the early days of Act Two, I would wake up every morning and go to one dashboard, and it was my working capital dashboard. If you're a SaaS company, and we sell software and we have a lot of recurring revenue, CMRR or committed annual recurring revenue is a very, very important metric. And we also look at net revenue retention, which is really the end result of, do we have churn? Do we have customers adding to the subscriptions? Do we have them downgrading? So those are just some examples, but I think it really depends on the industry and the stage growth that you're in.
So recently we had a couple events. One was kind of a roundtable concept in partnership with Corvette, and then we had a ThinkPad. where we kind of focused in on startup challenges. And one of the things, and in fact, I see a few of you attendees here, so they might reach out with questions later. But one of the questions was always like, at what point do I need to be investing in marketing? At what point do I need to be investing in finance and accounting? And how does that transition occur? I feel like, when you're an entrepreneur, especially when it's just you're wearing a lot of different hats. You're running around with your hair on fire. It's hard to determine, or other things. I guess when do you know, or who do you rely on to be able to kind of tell you and guide you when the right time is to invest what?
So there's a few of us in the room that are gray hair, no hair, and those of us who are, you probably agree with me that every decision you made in your business, like it's time to hire a CFO, or it's time to hire a head of HR, or it's time to fire that one person, right? You always wish you did it sooner. Does anybody disagree with that? The gray-haired, older guys. So with finance and accounting, what I see is that yes, you're a startup. You need to save money. Maybe you're on QuickBooks. You're using an outsourced bookkeeper. I get it. But when you get to $5 or $10 million in revenue, right, or you get to, let's say, multiple locations, multiple legal entities, QuickBooks is going to break. And you're probably going to outgrow your finance team. And so you need to get that adult supervision. Maybe it's a fractional CFO that you can get for just an hour or two a month that can point out to you, hey, you need to pay attention to this. You're going to have a problem later. So I encourage you to use a fractional CFO or a financial advisor. Got somebody raising their hand.
Lucky me. I teach at the University of Houston, the College of Technology, and right now I'm very focused on creating an accounting video game because so many people struggle with understanding, especially flat spreadsheets. But you put it in a 3D space, which is where we're going now, folks, isn't it? We're all being told how important visualization is, especially in 3D, augmented reality, virtual reality. So are you working on the next spreadsheet that's in 3D form?
That is cool. Maybe I will finally get my kids interested in accounting if we have a video game. But yeah, I mean, what I find is looking at spreadsheets, looking at reports that are just columns of numbers, it's really hard to get meaningful insights out of. So we encourage dashboards that have graphs and visualization techniques, and there's some very cool technology out there. And the other thing that I didn't say in my presentation is technology is getting more and more available for smaller companies. Our clients get to use a tool that's called Oracle Business Intelligence, or OBIEE. That used to be a very expensive technology, but we now have that natively within our accounting system for relatively small companies. So very cool.
Got one more from Brad. What would you say has been the hardest part of starting and growing your business?
Well, it's been a while since I lived in that world, but sleeping is probably the hardest part. Wondering if you're going to have enough cash to make payroll. And as those of you who are founders can probably relate, if the first payroll you miss is going to be your own before you miss the payroll of your employees. So, being able to pay your mortgage and put food on the table. Once you get past that, I think the hardest part is just hiring talented people so that you can make yourself obsolete. I have the pleasure right now of working with people that are smarter than me, and the business runs itself, and I can go do cool things like talk to you guys about accounting video games. So sleeping, making payroll in the early days, and then finding a way to build a team so that the business runs itself and it doesn't depend on you every moment of the day.
It sounds a lot like having a baby, right, Long? Yeah. Any other questions out there? So I do have another one, I guess, that came up last week was, I guess, what are the creative ways that you can implement accounting and finance beyond, I guess, the fractional CFOs that allow you to hire and retain or focus your efforts on the cooler things like video games?
Well, the whole thing about finance and accounting today is that it should be automated. If you're not automating literally everything you can automate, then you or somebody who works for you or somebody you're paying as a vendor is spending time on stuff they shouldn't be spending time on. So the faster you can build the infrastructure that allows your business to do business in the digital realm, like I said before, the quicker you can focus on those strategic things. And we're doing some really cool things right now with one of our early products that we developed is something called SaaS Intelligence, which is a dashboard that lets a SaaS company literally see visually what their churn is, what their add-ons are, what's happening with their net revenue retention rate, lifetime value, customer acquisition cost, all visually. And then we took a step back and we said, hey, we work with churches. I wonder if there are some parallels between that. And we realized that a subscriber to a SaaS company is actually not that different than a member of a church or maybe a member of some organization like the Canon. And so we started porting over certain metrics that are generally relevant to the SaaS world and talking to churches and saying, well, if you could see this on a dashboard, would that be interesting? And we're starting to get some really real excitement from some of our church clients. So learning from certain industries or certain clients and transferring that knowledge to others is always fun to do.
That's awesome. That's what we try to do here. Well, any other questions?
I'm not a plant.
Doug's going to put me on the spot here.
No, I've been CFO of a number of organizations in my career, and I've done, I think, 7 ERP implementations now. The last 2 are with Intact, the last one of which was with these guys, and it was tremendously successful, and we took actually it was a family office, we took from spreadsheets into a wonderful accounting world. My question is, there are a lot of entrepreneurs here. At what point do they get out of spreadsheets and out of QuickBooks and into something like Intact, which can build their business going forward?
That's a great question, and there's no hard and fast rule, but thank you, Doug, and also thank you for the kind words. It's been fun working with you.
Yeah, your accounting presentation is getting better and better.
Well, so in the early days as an entrepreneur, every dollar matters, and you got to hang on to every dollar, right? And we've all been there. You do your own books, nights and weekends. So how do you know when you need to stop doing that? I think some of the triggers are pre-revenue versus post-revenue, right? Once you start getting customers and you start generating revenue dollars on the P&L, you need to be thinking about how is this going to scale? What happens when all of a sudden we make a big mistake on an invoice because we prepared it manually? Are you heading towards a equity raise, right? And for us, we did our first institutional raise, and we realized that we had put a lot of things in place that we needed to. When they asked for data, we could just push a button and provide it. But we also identified a few holes that we hadn't thought about. If you're on QuickBooks and you're $5 million in revenue or $10 million in revenue, you need to be probably migrating to something more sophisticated. And I've got a practical advice slide here. One of the things I would tell you is consider outsourcing some of these non-core functions to somebody that really specializes in that. That's been something that we've been able to do for some of our customers, and put a scalable infrastructure in place so that once the business really starts to take off, you don't have to look over your shoulder and say, is that spreadsheet going to catch up with me, or is the accounting system going to break? So don't know if that fully answered your question, but some rules of thumb are 5 to 10 million in revenue, heading towards an institutional round, things like that.
Well, we're kind of up against it. Do you want to kind of at least close and then kind of have your contact information so that we can so y'all can reach out to Marcus?
So again, I'm Marcus Wagner, Act 2. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to sponsor this event and be here. I've also got 2 of my colleagues here in blue, Peter Wagner and Chris Grady. They'll be circulating if you want to start some conversations with us, and my contact information is up there. Again, we love helping founders. We love helping high-growth companies. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you
I'm just going
very
to
much.
stand here and keep talking.
That's fine. You can dance if you'd like to. My only comment was I wish I had gotten the version of QuickBooks that made it to $5 million because we broke it long before that. Okay, before we get to the fun stuff, which is the raffle prizes and the food and drinks and all that good stuff, we wanted to take an opportunity to kind of whip you through Canon stuff, kind of what's going on in our world, what we're seeing, what we're excited about, and then answer any questions you've got related to kind of where we're at and where we're going. So I will start with this. The Canon community continues to grow. I have the same issue with reading the screen. The numbers you see there are current numbers. I thought about putting the pre-COVID numbers up there because they were probably 60% less than what you see there. So we have kind of weathered the storm of 2020 and now are on a growth path that is taking us in the right direction. We want to move quicker. We want more members. We want to grow the community. The reality is, we've got kind of an identity crisis as the Canon. We a lot get asked, what is the Canon? And I pause because there's so many answers to that question. It's very difficult to narrow that down. And so it's almost like asking, what's Houston, Texas? And if the answer is it's a city on this, the Gulf Coast of Texas, that's a correct answer, but that doesn't even begin to tell the story. So for the Canon, I think what we've narrowed down to as a team is kind of the theme of this afternoon is it's the community. It's all about the 134 individual members, the 460 plus companies that are now part of that community that we're interacting with and supporting at different levels. It's the 33 plus sponsors and partners that I'll show you a little bit more about here in a couple of slides. And it's our advisors, 45 plus now advisors that we've gone through a program of certifying and are now positioning those folks to help those companies and individuals with whatever they need from a support perspective. One additional program we started just this week is called our Born Entrepreneur Program. We have two new entrants between Lawson's Baby and Hillary's Baby. So there are some questions about scalability of that program. We're looking into that. But in any case, we're excited about growing the community any way we can. I mentioned our partners and sponsors. A very impressive list there. Many of you in the room today, so we're appreciative of you being here. But if we missed anybody, I apologize. But we are thankful on a daily basis for the relationships that we have with these groups and the support that they provide, not only to the Canon community, but the Canon specifically. So excited about that group there. The footprint continues to expand. So we've had a lot of energy here. As you can imagine, when COVID hit, we had a lot of conversations ongoing, and everybody that was thinking about doing anything in person basically hit the pause button or the stop button or the eject button, one of the three. We have come full circle, and now the energy is back around how do we kind of expand and extend this idea of physical experience, getting people back together in physical spaces and workspaces. The corporate world is kind of changing their dynamic in terms of how they're looking at bringing their people back into office spaces as well. So we've got a little bit of a role that we're playing in there. But we have our 3 existing locations, which you're, I think, all aware of, and I'll go through those real quick. We have 4 new locations, either open or preparing to open. And then we're in the process of having 7 additional conversations that are local, statewide, and national and international at various levels in terms of our opportunity to expand and support, whether that's includes a physical space or a digital community, expansion at any level. So our 3 current locations, I think everybody knows West Houston. That's where you're sitting right now. Downtown, which is in the Amity Tower, and then Post Oak. Our 3 physical new locations, we're just getting ready to open the Canon Galveston at the Marmo. If you get the chance, if you're down at the beach, call us, get the address, swing by, check it out. It's going to be really cool. We had a great, Jimmy McClure is our building partner down there, tremendous partner and supporter, and now a new member of the Canon board as well. So we're excited about Galveston. We're probably opening, well, it's kind of a running joke. This week. It's been this week for 3 or 4 weeks, but that's kind of how it goes. So we think in the next couple of weeks. Esperson Co-working, we just kind of soft opened that opportunity. That's in the Esperson building right downtown, 808 Travis. And we're excited about that. You'll notice the naming convention there's a little bit different. It's Esperson Co-working, powered by the Canon. Cameron Management, Dougal Cameron and team looked at their facility, their building, and decided that they wanted to kind of offer something additional to their community. And so what we're helping them with is how do you change the kind of Esperson experience? How do you create an amenity for the current base in that building to take advantage of a flex offering? And so we're working on that. We just got that our first space open there and the opportunity to expand. And then the third one we're super excited about. It's been a long time coming, but we see the finish line there, is the Cannon Uptown Sports and Entertainment. And that will be at 5353? I always say 4343. Yeah, it's another one. That's So it's preparing to open. And the Cannon Sports. We have kind of dabbled with this concept of concentrating startups and kind of building a sub-community for specific verticals. And because of the exposure and an opportunity we have in the sports and entertainment space, because of a lot of the companies we've worked with here, because of our relationship with Gal Media, we're actually co-locating that space and are excited about kind of our first journey into what happens if you put all of this in one place and what kind of energy can you create around that. So I'm super excited about that one. I mentioned 4 new locations or 4 new communities. The fourth one is the one that I think I'm most excited about. It's really the virtual community that we've built. So up to this point, up until the point where we released our technology platform, our expansion and growth was all about physical expansion. We'd open a new space, we'd get people in our walls, and that was how our community grew. With the introduction of Canon Connect late last year and our version 2 that came out earlier this year, we now have a virtual-only community. So we have 77, I think, as of yesterday, members that are Canon members that are getting benefit from the Canon value proposition, but aren't in any of our spaces. And as we look at kind of our mission and opportunity to grow and deliver value to the entrepreneurial community, we know we can never hope to fit them all in the spaces that we operate. And so to the extent that we can market and go get access and contact startup companies and individuals, entrepreneurs who can benefit from all of the different things that we're doing, that's where we hope to do that, through that digital platform. So we're excited about that as well. I have to pause and thank Brad. He hates being called out, but Brad True single-handedly kind of put this together. We haven't had a huge budget from a technology perspective, and so I take every opportunity to commend and thank Brad for the work he did, all while kind of operating the business. So, well done. Yeah. No, he would never do that. And the last slide here is, and this is kind of a hodgepodge of everything. I asked the team kind of what are all the different things that are happening in our world that would kind of be attractive to the crowd. And we have a lot of different things going on. We're super excited that in the last month we have rolled out the opportunity for our members to have medical, dental, health, and life benefits. One of the huge barriers to entrepreneurship is if I'm walking away from a corporate role, I'm walking away from that benefits package, and I can't do that. So now we've got a program that allows our companies and individuals to get access to the same kind of coverage I'd get in the corporate environment, but through our community. So that has been very attractive, and we're pulling in new members and community members through that program. We're doing some phenomenal work with Spring Branch ISD and Houston Community College with their programs. We've gotten connected with the Prisoner Entrepreneurship Program, which is a phenomenal program here in Texas. We're working with them on how we can partner to develop and deliver some digital solutions for their post-release members. So we're excited about kind of extending the investment they're making in individuals from a rehabilitation perspective and transitioning that all the way into those people, those folks being able to create their own businesses post-release. So super excited about that. Lots of other stuff going on up there, but excellent. The team that you saw here is triple teaming a lot of these things, and we're excited about the expansion and opportunities that we've got in front of us. I know that was a lot of words very fast. This is the way I operate. I've attempted to rehabilitate from that, but I'm not very good at it. So are there any questions on anything that we discussed up there or not?
Yeah. Well, someone asked if Brad is single, but I'll let him know.
Affirmative. Brad is single. The first date will be coding and graphic design of the website.
Very well. Another one for you, John. Do you expect to see a return to a classic office, or do you foresee more day offices / open space offices being the new norm?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think that we're ever going back to the traditional model, if there is such a thing. I think that I grew up in a consulting world where clients didn't think you were doing work unless you were sitting in their building in front of them, and somehow via a pandemic, that's all changed. It's all gone away. I wondered what was ever going to change it. We as consultants always said, you don't have to pay these travel fees. I can do all this without being here. So I think COVID's done created some change, but it's created some opportunities as well. And so what we want to do is take advantage of the fact that we have a model, and we, the focus of our community is in that space where we're trying to grow companies to the point where they're able to make long-term real estate decisions and building decisions. In that interim, we want to provide flexibility. And what COVID has essentially done is it's squeezed everybody back into this area where even larger organizations are considering shorter-term opportunities or diversified, office space and that kind of thing. So we're being as opportunistic as we can. We've got a number of those. I mentioned the 7 opportunities. A couple of those embedded in there are with large building owners with large corporate presences that are looking for some kind of transition, some kind of change. And so we'll see where that pans out, but I don't think we're going all the way back to large corporate environments. And I think, as time goes on, and as long as we're smart about things, the open environment work spaces like we've got here in our different locations are gonna take root. That's my opinion, I guess. Got any other perspective? Okay. Yes.
Thank you. Not to bring up the infamous, W, other company that starts with a W, but what's going to separate you guys from that organization, WeWork?
Good question.
And that downfall and all that happened.
Yeah. Well, a couple of differentiators. The first one is, I think if you go all the way back, and you can either back me up or not on this, if you go all the way back to the origins of the WeWork vision, it wasn't dissimilar from a value proposition perspective than kind of Lawson's thinking. I think they had a focus on small businesses. They wanted to develop a community. If you look at a lot of their early literature, it's good stuff. I mean, there's great stuff in there. Somewhere in there, the bright, shiny real estate play opportunity kind of diverted them from that opportunity. And so, we made the decision early on from a growth perspective that we weren't going to be in the real estate business. That for us, real estate space is a resource that the community that we're focused on needs. And so to the extent that we can open new spaces and provide that resource, that's an element of what we do. But our focus is always going to be on what value can we deliver to that community holistically. So it's more so the big picture value proposition than just the space. The anecdote I use over and over, and those of you who spend time with me have heard me say this. Pre-COVID, we were 96%, for this building specifically, was 96% occupied. So we were in a good spot, filled up. COVID hit, weren't sure what was going to happen in that entire period of time. Our peers in the co-working space, we kind of keep communications with, and virtually all of them went to zero because why in the world would I pay month to month for an office space that I either am not comfortable using or can't use? Our community bottomed out about 69%, which, we sat and scratched our heads going, what's happening here? Well, the reality of that is our community views the Cannon as more than just this building or these office spaces. There's more to it than that. And so I think the key differentiator for us, to answer your question, is that our focus is always going to be on continually adding to the value proposition of the Cannon, things like benefits and advisors and other resources, to make sure that when somebody looks at my relationship with the Cannon, whether it's in an office or digitally, there's no question in their mind that they want to be part of what we have to offer. So, we are not doing micro investments internally. We basically are facilitating our investor network to kind of source that process. But from an investor perspective, yes. So a lot of what we spend our time doing in terms of supporting startups at various stages is making those investor introductions and making those connections. We're not making those. We don't have a fund of our own, but we have channels into whether it's family offices or angel networks or VC relationships that we're constantly kind of lining people up. That's that investor network component, very similar to our advisor network. We're trying to make those connections as best we can.
We have a question from Elisa. How does the Cannon compare with other co-working spaces, startup communities that are starting up in Houston, like the Ion downtown?
Yeah, another good question. So, in terms of differentiation from some of the local parties, when we look at the opportunity to help the entrepreneur community, we look at it on a global basis. So Houston's super important to us. It's kind of home. And there's a lot to do. There's a lot of need here. We get asked, do we compete with the Ion? Well, in essence, yes, but we're not in an environment where competition's even a discussion at this point. There's so much need that there's plenty enough to go around, and we don't even have to have that conversation. I think some of the things that the Ion are doing, fantastic. There'll be resources that are leveraging and taking advantage of them and what's happening down there. We see Houston as a much broader community, and so if you look at our footprint and where we're located now and where we're going between headed to Galveston and kind of picking up our conversations out west and talking to the Woodlands and those things, we want to meet the entrepreneur where they're at. We know from a Houston perspective that during COVID it was okay. Post-COVID, we're going to be right back to the traffic issues, and people just don't want to make that jaunt, right? So if we can bring the value proposition to the different communities and allow them to interact from a digital perspective and get access to what they need, that's how I would differentiate who we are and what we do. And our focus is really on that community piece. It will always be the community element of kind of where we're adding value to that. Other questions? All right. Perfect. I am going to hand it over to, who am I handing over to? Caroline and Melissa. And we're going to give away free stuff. This is the payoff, folks. So who wants the mic?
Okay, so we're going to start off with all of these prizes have been donated from members of our community, so thank you all for people who donated to that. We're going to start off with our first prize, which is from Aerostar. They have an office right down here, and they donated a $75 Topgolf gift card. Melissa, who wins the prize?
Drum roll, please. And the winner is, for the Topgolf gift card, Corey Collins. Woo! You can come get your prize, Corey.
All right, while Corey comes down, we're going to do our next prize from Cheers, one of the original members of the Cannon. They donated this awesome gift basket with various Cheers products and a bottle of Mum champagne. Who wins the basket?
Drum roll, please. Molly Brozier.
Molly,
are you here?
Molly!
You're welcome to share, Molly.
Enjoy. All right. The next one is from Statistical Vision, another OG member. Dirk was here a minute ago, but I don't know where he is. They are giving out a free brand and website assessment So it's not a physical prize right now, but we'll connect you with them so you can get that prize. Melissa?
All right, another drum roll. The winner of this is Mike Key. All right, Mike.
Nice.
Woo!
I got a card for you. We'll connect you to Dirk, but this is his card as well. Okay, the next one, Brow DeVore Osterreiter, Ruth. Donated it. Who wins?
Drum roll, please. David Armis. Arms. Yay, David.
Are you David?
Awesome.
Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Ooh, from the Powder Keg next door, they've donated $100 volleyball court credit and a $50 bar tab.
Ooh.
Who wins it?
All right, drum roll, please. Nathan Norman. Okay, should we pick there? All right, give me 1 second here. Jason Limerick. Oh, okay. I mean, this is a good one, guys. All right. Let's see. Robert Pieroni.
Can the Cannon team take it?
Melissa Gonzalez. All right. Let's see. 1 second here. Chelsea Journey. Woo! Yay!
Okay, here, you can take this. If you show it to Kyle, it's valid. Thank you.
If he says otherwise.
Okay, we got 3 more left. This one is going to be a $50 Starbucks gift card from a Munson Group. Who is the winner?
The winner is Emilio Armstrong.
Emilio!
Woo!
There you go, Emilio. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a Chick-fil-A basket with some swag and gift cards. Who's the winner?
Dan Munoz.
Dan?
Are you here? Ooh. Dan? Nope. All right. It's okay. There's a lot of people in the bathroom right now, guys. Okay. Colton Hagler. Woo! Got it?
Oh, one more.
Congrats.
Thank you. Okay, and the last one is from InfoFluency, one of our great members. She has offered lunch at Ciro's and a complimentary data health assessment.
All righty. Elizabeth Charles. Okay. Vance Smith.
Vance!
Is that
Huh? No.
Yay, Vance.
Way to go, Vance.
That'll conclude our...
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations to all the winners. There we go. Okay, just to wrap up, a couple of thank yous, specific thank yous. First of all, thanks again to Marcus and team for your presentation and your sponsorship for tonight's event. Also want to recognize the sponsor of our happy hour reception event. We want you all to join us for food and drink back in the kitchen area after we're done here. But Alive 5, which is our IT partner, has developed or has a product called the Alive Card. You may have received the little card coming in. They have a new solution that basically creates a business card that goes on your iPhone, and it's free for anybody to use, and they're kind of using that as a productivity tool. So we want you to check that out.
use it and provide some feedback on how the product works. But we appreciate their sponsorship of tonight's event. In closing, thank you very much for your time and for being part of the Cannon Adventure. We'll sneak up on you again and let you know when we're going to do this the next time. And have a great evening with us at the reception. Thank you very much. Yeah.